Welcome back, everybody. So I figured it was time to finally open up this guy. Now, I actually bought this prop from Spirit Halloween at their halfway to Halloween sale 6 months ago. I think I got it for like 50% off, but it has been sitting in my pile of stuff that I need to get to make videos on eventually, and I figured with 22 days left till Halloween, I need to start getting on this stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and unbox this with you. And we are going to take a look at the Sewer Varmint. So let's go ahead and pull this out of the box. And here we go. It's this guy, and he is a two-headed sewer rat. And you might be asking yourself, if you watch my videos, how is this going to fit in my Day of the Dead theme? Well, you know I can never just stick to one theme. So we are doing Day of the Dead, traditional Day of the Dead, but we're also doing Day of the Dead. And in my world, we've had a little toxic spill, and it has brought our dead back to life. And because it's a toxic spill, it's also obviously affected the local wildlife, which would be my rat here. So we're going to open him up, see if he'll actually work well in my display. Now, he did retail for $129. And again, it was so long ago that I bought him. I think he was 50% off because it was halfway to Halloween. I think I got 50% off deal. So he was probably like 65 bucks, which seems like a good deal to me. But let's go ahead and open up the box and see what we've got inside. All right, cardboard, and there's fur, and that's just, ew. It just reminds you of gross rats and creatures and things, but it is kind of just some fur. So it looks like we've got some assembly to do. Let's go ahead and just sort of roll everything out. All right, got some instructions here. Oh, okay, so, whoa. It's kind of heavy. There's a lot going on here. Obviously, this is the body. Ooh, the creepy heads. And we've got some feet. A bunch of those. Ew, a gross tail. Oh, it's posable. All right. And we've got the fur. And then, of course, we have the hose because this is a fogger. And I'm excited to see how that plays out. All right, mystery box of parts here. Let's go ahead and open this and see what's inside. All right, it looks like in the box we have, a little bag of screws and things. This is taking a little more assembly than I thought it was going to. And then we have a plug. All right, so we've got a lengthy cord, so we can hide our rat wherever we want. Of course, I'm going to put him in my toxic barrel, which we will see hopefully at the end of this video. But this looks more confusing than I was expecting. It's not one of those props that I can just throw together on my own. So let's go ahead, pull out the instructions, clear off some space here, and see if we can get this thing together. Looks like we're going to start our adventure with this wooden piece here, and it's got the controller mechanism here in the middle of this piece of wood. Obviously, it's got some sort of speaker here, and there is a volume control, which I love because I tend to hate the sounds that come from these things, so if we can just mute it when I want, that's even better. But there is a jack for a speaker if you wanted to add a speaker and amplify that noise, a jack for a step pad and a try-me, and then, of course, a power thing as well. Then on the other side, it looks like we've got some cabling that's probably going to connect to something here. Don't know. I guess this might be for the hose. There's some weird piece here. No clue what these things are yet. I guess we will find out in just a moment. But the first step is to take the feet that is labeled back foot and back foot. And I guess you want to make sure that I guess they're the same. They're the same, maybe? They look the same. Okay, so I don't think we need to worry about like a little toe being on one side, but we're going to put it through the back. Okay, obviously not obviously in my case. They do not go into the large holes here. There are two small holes here, and the feet are just going to go right into those holes there. And then we need to attach it with some of the screws. So let's go ahead and open up the screw bag. See what we've got here. All right, looks like hopefully there's a little extra bag of extra screws, I'm assuming. They all appear to be the same except for one small screw and nut thing. But let's go ahead and screw these feet on. All right, now my first inclination was to screw the feet on this side just because my tail was sticking that way. But obviously that's going to cause you a problem because you want to make sure that your speaker and your controls are accessible, which is obviously going to be from the bottom. So I flipped it around. I've got my two back feet on. Now we're just going to repeat the same steps for the two front feet. All right, now with our rat starting to come to shape, I realize that this is probably for the head, which I believe is the next step. So the head piece has some fog tubes on it. It's got lots of wires going on here. So looks like we've got a couple of connections to make. I went ahead and took the twist tie off of the cord here. But let's just go ahead and put this thing on. So, all right, he's taking shape. Before we do any connections though, that's what this little nut and bolt thing here are for. There is apparently a hole, which is hard to see on a black piece here, especially in the video, and especially from all these hard angles. But there is a hole here, so we're gonna put that through and connect it. That's gonna, I guess, keep this head on. Okay, managed to get that on even with my giant sausage fingers. So the next thing we need to do is thread the tubes for the fog machine there. And then we connect the wires. So we have a blue and white cord and a black and white cord that obviously are just going to connect to the counterparts that are right here. Let's go ahead and plug those in. They're also a little bit different sized connections, so you couldn't really mess that up even if you were trying. That just leaves one other long wire, and I don't know what this one is for just yet. The instructions were not very helpful. I have this extra cord. I don't know what it is supposed to plug into. There's nothing left. There are no other wires to connect unless it's to the tail, and I'm just not seeing it in the instructions. So just going to ignore it for now, and I guess we'll see what happens. That's unfortunate. We'll just leave that there. All right, so the next step is to attach the body piece. And to do this, I guess it just sort of sits on here. Let's see, obviously we need this side up here. There are a couple of holes in this plastic, so we have two screws left, and they are going to screw the plastic onto the body. All right, now I'm not thrilled with this. This body just sort of overhangs completely the bottom piece. There actually is a second indentation and a hole in the board where it looks like they intended for a screw to go at some point, but then perhaps for some reason took it off. Because there's no hole in the plastic, and there's one on the other side as well. So they have holes for the plastic in the front on one side and in the back on the other. But then they have indentions on all four corners. We got two extra screws in this envelope marked spare parts. I'm tempted to just screw it in anyway. But I guess I won't. So, all right, let's just move on. I'm starting to feel frustrated by my ugly rat. Although he's kind of fun, isn't he? Okay, so next step. We're going to place the creepy fur over the plastic. Now there are Velcro strips on here, but it says don't connect the Velcro strips, so I won't. The reason we are not Velcroing them together is because we need to plug in the jack as soon as I untangle this mess. right, got him plugged in. So here we have our sewer varmint. Now the Velcro, I'm not sure I really got it on great, but it does wrap around all of his feet and his belly and his tail, so it does pretty much cover him pretty substantially. He's actually a much bigger prop than I kind of thought he was going to be. But what does he do? Now let's go ahead and take a closer look at the box. Now obviously we can see that he fogs if we attach a fogger. It says Sewer Varmint, side-to-side head motion, makes rat squeals and grunts, red light-up LED eyes, fog machine compatible, connection accessories included, stands 16.5 inches tall. On the back of the box, we have the story of the sewer varmint. Stay tuned to the end of the video if you'd like to hear that. All right, are we ready to plug him in and see what happens? Let's see. Anything? Anything at all? Hello? Rat? Okay, well, there he is. He is kind of creepy. I suspect that extra cord might be... for the fog machine, maybe, if you connect it to a... I don't know. Maybe there's more instructions, but we do need to figure out how to connect the fog machine. But before we do all that, let's bring the camera in and we'll take a closer look. We'll start here at the face. He's got a nice wide mouth, ready to eat small children. His creepy little feet look very rat-like. His eyes actually look somewhat realistic, so that's kind of nice. So if you wanted to have it just as a standalone prop, it doesn't look completely fake. And then it's got this nice fur. It's kind of coarse, kind of creepy. I'm not a huge fan of the scar on the back of him, though. It looks awfully fake. And then he has this long worm-like tail, which is rubbery and gross, and kids will love it. All right, the other bit of the instruction sheet tells us how to set up the step pad, if you had one, an external speaker setup, optional multi-prop remote setup, and I believe that is perhaps what the other cord is for. The optional battery adapter setup, battery installation, and so forth. There are no more instructions on how to set up the fog machine. So we've got pieces and parts. We've got tubes, which are going to connect, I think, to these. So these ends are easy. They just sort of squeeze right on. This piece obviously is going to go here somehow. I guess this is probably going to connect, the fog machine, which, let me just pull it out. All right, so I've got my fog machine here, ready to test for the season, so this is a perfect opportunity. Now this does not fit on the front of my fog machine, unfortunately, so I suppose that's what this piece is for. All right, I guess that is how it works, so there we go. Now you're never going to want to test your fog machine inside because it can leave film all over your stuff. So let's go ahead and take this baby outside, see how it works. So there we have a glimpse of what you can expect in my Halloween display. I can't wait to share it with you. Can't wait for the neighborhood kids to get a glimpse of our sewer varmint, because who would not be terrified by such a creature? I do think, however, it's a little hard getting all the timing right, because I would almost wish that his face was always lit up and always moving, and then the fog comes out when it comes out. So it's kind of hard to get all that timing together, all going at the same time. But when it goes, it works pretty well together. I would almost think, though, you could just have the fog coming around the varmint instead of out of its mouth. I don't think it really adds much of anything having it shoot out its mouth, but coming out around it was very creepy. But let me know in the comments, what do you think? And of course, our sewer varmint needs a name. So if you have a clever name for her, I'm going to call it a her, be sure to leave it in the comments below. That'll do it for today. Stay tuned to the end of the video if you want to hear the story, the spirit story behind the sewer varmint. And that'll do it for today. Until next time, take care, everyone. Happy haunting. At the end of the summer of '89, when the factory finally shut its doors, no one thought twice. They padlocked the gate and walked away, but the rats never got the memo. A quick bath in the leftover toxic ooze, and the mutations began. The first attack happened to some kids on the way home from soccer practice. Now the town lives in fear as the sewer varmints are hungry and have a taste for blood.